Rivers crisis. How Ijaw Nation mismanaged crisis. IYC boss. Welcome to Sinok Media. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also put on your notification button to follow our updates. There is no breakthrough yet in the effort to reconcile the warring personalities in the Rivers State political crisis. The nation can now report. Governor Siminalayi Fubara, Deputy Governor Ngozi Odu, and all the state legislators were suspended for 6 months under the state of emergency imposed on the state on March 20 by President Bola Tinubu on account of the crisis. His request to the National Assembly for the endorsement of the state of emergency declaration was promptly granted. The two chambers, however, proposed to set up a committee to reconcile the warring personalities before the expiration of the 6-month suspension. But 2 weeks after, there is no concrete action yet to implement the proposed reconciliation between Governor Fubara and his supporters and Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike and his supporters. Political sources in the state told the nation in Port Harcourt that one of the factors delaying the reconciliation process was the role played by some notable leaders in the state and the Ijaw Nation in the crisis. One of the sources, an Ijaw, who does not want his name in print, said that instead of maintaining neutrality during the crisis, most of the leaders took sides and had lost the expected credibility to galvanize a genuine move for reconciliation. According to him, many Ijaw leaders sided with the governor and despised Wike, a development he said aggravated the crisis. Those that should have led us out of the woods this time around took sides in the crisis. They lacked the credibility to call the two parties to a roundtable, the source said. Former President Goodluck Jonathan, who should have led the peace talks at this time, was pushed to side with Governor Fubara in the crisis. The Ijaw National Congress (INC), led by Professor Benjamin Okaba, disappointed the Ijaw through his obvious partiality in the matter. Professor Okaba did not help matters at all. The body can no longer be deployed to ensure genuine reconciliation. The leadership of the Pan Niger Delta Forum (PANDEF) also took a position in the crisis. You remember that all the elders in Rivers are already divided into Wike's or Fubara's elders. These are people that should have risen to the occasion at this point, but they no longer command the respect that can foster genuine reconciliation. As it stands, there is nothing visible being done to kickstart any reconciliation. Fubara has returned to his private residence in Port Harcourt, while many of the suspended lawmakers are said to be holidaying outside the country. The president of Ijaw Youth Council (IYC) worldwide, Jonathan Lokpobiri, said if the Ijaw had applied tact as against threats, the Rivers problem would have been nipped in the bud before it got out of hand. Jonathan said, "Permit me to reflect on the state we are as Ijaw Nation regarding the state of emergency in Rivers. I can, with all sense of responsibility and conviction, state that if we had applied wisdom in the management of this crisis in Rivers, we would not be where we are today. Instead of using wisdom in matters we can nip in the bud, we choose to threaten war that we were not prepared for. I have seen over times that emotion has never won a war, but planning and strategic consultations do. People, in the name of struggle, even in the matters we can nip in the bud and caution ourselves internally, rush to the media and threaten war and give the enemies an opportunity to fortify themselves for it. And where the war comes, we no longer speak. Jonathan claimed some leaders spoke carelessly when they were supposed to lead the peace process. He, however, said such leaders suddenly went quiet when they were expected to actualize the threats they issued. He said the situation in Rivers was never a war between the Ijaw and the Ikwere ethnic nationalities and wondered what would have happened if the Ikwere had returned the threats. Jonathan said, people speak carelessly in an attempt to put on an ethnic group into a war that is avoidable. For those who threatened fire and brimstone, the war came, but I didn't hear their voices anymore. We must be wise in prosecuting the struggles of the Niger Delta. If this was how our leaders went about their struggle, I'm not sure anybody would have respected the Ijaw Nation. Most of those making unguarded statements are people we clap for without cautioning them. There is no war between Ijaw and Ikwere and any other ethnic group. If the Ikwere ethnic group had responded to our unguarded statements, there would be war already in Rivers. Jonathan said while he would like Fubara to return to office quickly and complete his tenure, the Ijaw must avoid resorting to emotions in times of crisis. He said sometimes wisdom is stronger than the harms we think we have gathered. If we had solved this problem internally, as we advised earlier, we wouldn't get to this embarrassing moment of a state of emergency. I expected missiles to flow when this state of emergency was declared, but those who threatened the war never said anything anymore. President of the movement of his own ethnic nationality, Musient, Kennedy Tonjo West, offered to begin consultations necessary to start reconciliation. West recalled that Musient was neutral during the crisis and only advised both parties to mend their fences in the interest of peace and development of rivers. I am already undertaking some consultations so that the process of reconciliation can start on time. We want rivers to return to a process of reconciliation without any delay. Rivers Sole Administrator Vice Admiral Ibo Kibas retired, assumed office on March 20, following the declaration of emergency rule in the state. That's a bunch of wisdom from Jonathan Lokpobiri. Honestly, if these leaders had told the line he just explained here, there wouldn't have even been the need for a state of emergency in the first place. I wish they could bring back the hand of the clock